The quantum sensors aboard the research vessel Nebula Seeker hummed with an unfamiliar frequency, drawing Chief Science Officer Risha Patel away from her meditation chamber. Her bare feet made no sound against the polished deck as she hurried to the bridge, her dark eyes fixed on the readings streaming to her neural interface. "Captain Thorne," she called out, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "I believe you'll want to see this." Captain Marcus Thorne turned from his command station, his weathered face illuminated by the soft blue glow of holographic displays. After 30 years exploring the outer reaches of known space, very little surprised him anymore. But the look in Risha's eyes made him straighten in his chair. "Show me," he said simply. The main viewport shifted, displaying a complex array of quantum signatures that shouldn't exist in this sector of space. The readings showed evidence of technology far beyond anything the Galactic Coalition had achieved in its 1,000-year history. "These energy patterns," Risha explained, her fingers dancing through the holographic data, "they're not random background radiation. They're organized, purposeful. Someone's out there, watching us." First Officer Nix Voss, his scaled skin shimmering under the bridge lights, leaned forward at his station. "Impossible. This sector has been thoroughly mapped. There are no civilizations capable of this level of technology within 50 light years. Unless," Risha countered, "they didn't want to be found." The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. The Nebula Seeker had been tasked with investigating anomalies in this region, but finding evidence of an advanced civilization that had somehow escaped detection by the Coalition's vast network of sensors was unprecedented. Captain Thorne studied the data carefully. After losing his family to the Crimson Plague 20 years ago, he had devoted himself to exploration, hoping to find something that would change the galaxy's understanding of itself. Now, staring at readings that defied explanation, he wondered if he had finally found it. "How long until we can pinpoint the source?" he asked. Risha frowned, her fingers moving through more calculations. "The signal pattern is unusual. It's everywhere and nowhere at once. Almost as if—" She stopped, her eyes widening. "Captain, they're here. They've always been here." The ship's lighting suddenly shifted to deep purple, emergency protocols engaging without command. Nix's station erupted with alerts. Multiple objects decloaking. They're everywhere. The viewport cleared, revealing what had been hidden moments before. Massive structures hung in the void around them, architectural marvels that merged seamlessly with the fabric of space itself. Space stations, research facilities, and vessels of impossible design stretched as far as their sensors could detect. "By the void," Thorne whispered. "How long have they been watching?" A soft chime echoed through the bridge, the universal signal for incoming communication. The holoscreen shimmered to life, revealing a figure that made the entire crew catch their breath. She appeared human, but there was something in her eyes that spoke of centuries of knowledge. "Greetings, Captain Thorne," she said, her voice carrying warmth and ancient wisdom. "I am Director Amara Vale of the Earth Observation Directory. We've been expecting you." Thorne exchanged glances with his crew. Earth, the mythical homeworld of humanity, lost to history according to Coalition records. Yet here they were, not only surviving but thriving at a level of technological advancement that made the Coalition look primitive in comparison. "How do you know who we are?" Nix demanded, his protective instincts flaring. Amara's smile deepened. "We know many things, First Officer Voss. We've watched your civilization grow, protected you from threats you never knew existed, guided your development from the shadows. But now, it's time for something new, something honest." "The Coalition's historical records," Risha interjected, her mind racing with possibilities. "They're wrong, aren't they? About Earth, about humanity's fate." "History," Amara replied, "is written by those who survive. Sometimes, though, those who survive choose to step back, to watch, to protect rather than dominate." She paused, her expression growing serious. "Your ship's discovery of our quantum signatures wasn't an accident, Captain Thorne. We allowed it, Because your civilization is finally ready for the truth. The truth, Thorne realized, would shake the coalition to its foundations. Everything they thought they knew about their place in the galaxy, about the hierarchy of civilizations, was about to change. And what truth is that, Director Vale? That humanity never fell, she answered. We ascended, and we've been waiting for the right moment to help the rest of the galaxy do the same. She gestured, and new data began flooding the Nebula Seeker's systems. Star charts, technological specifications, historical records, all pointing to a reality far different from what the Coalition had taught for centuries. Welcome, Amara said, to the beginning of a new era. As the crew of the Nebula Seeker absorbed the magnitude of their discovery, none of them noticed the small smile playing across Risha's lips. After all, she had her own secrets to reveal, about her true identity, and about humanity's plans for the galaxy's future. But that would come later. For now, first contact would be enough to process. The stars seemed to shine brighter as two civilizations began their dance of revelation and understanding, while in the vast network of humanity's hidden outposts, countless others watched and waited for the next phase to begin. Grand Archivist Dren Corville's hands trembled as he examined the ancient data crystal. After 3 decades managing the Coalition's historical archives, he had thought nothing could surprise him anymore. He was wrong. Run the authentication sequence again, he commanded, his cybernetic eye whirring as it analyzed the crystalline structure. The quantum computer hummed, confirming what he already knew. The data was genuine, and it would change everything. The door to his secure research chamber slid open, admitting Director Amara Vale. She moved with the same fluid grace that had unnerved the Nebula Seeker's crew weeks earlier. Have you finished your analysis, Archivist? Dren nodded slowly, his scaled skin reflecting the soft glow of the holographic displays. The evidence is undeniable. The Coalition's founding documents were altered. Our entire understanding of human history was deliberately fabricated. The holographic projector activated, filling the chamber with images from humanity's true past. Not the story of a primitive species that destroyed itself, but of a civilization that had achieved technological transcendence, while the Coalition's ancestors were still learning to harness fusion power. The Coalition wasn't formed to unite surviving species after Earth's fall, Dren said, his voice hollow. It was created in response to humanity's rapid advancement. Your people terrified our ancestors. Amara moved through the projected images, her expression thoughtful. Fear often leads to poor decisions. Your ancestors chose to attempt our extinction, rather than face a future where they weren't the dominant force in the galaxy. But you stopped them. We did more than stop them, Amara corrected. We protected them, guided them, helped them become something better than their fears. She gestured, and new images appeared. Countless instances of human intervention throughout Coalition history, preventing disasters, averting wars, guiding development from the shadows. Dren's cybernetic eye recorded everything, his organic one blinking in disbelief. The miracle of Proxima, the Helios defense, that was you. All of it. Every unexplained salvation, every mysterious technological leap, every peaceful resolution to conflicts that should have ended in war. We were always there, watching, helping, protecting. The archivist slumped in his chair, decades of historical research crumbling around him. Why reveal this now? Amara's eyes seemed to look through him, seeing past and future simultaneously. Because the galaxy is changing, Archivist Corville. New threats are emerging, ones that will require all of us working together openly. The time for shadows has passed. The Coalition Security Council chamber erupted in chaos as Admiral Jenna Kane slammed her fist on the podium. This is an outrage. These humans have infiltrated every level of our society, manipulated our development, and now they expect us to simply accept their benevolent oversight. The chamber's holographic displays showed mounting unrest across Coalition space. Some worlds welcomed the revelation of humanity's true nature, while others called for immediate military action. The coalition, forged over centuries of careful political maneuvering, was fracturing. High Counselor Thexfire, his crystalline form refracting light across the chamber, raised his hands for silence. We must approach this situation with wisdom, not fear. The humans have demonstrated both their power and their restraint. Restraint. Admiral Kane scoffed. They've been manipulating us like puppets. They've been protecting us. A new voice cut through the argument. Risha Patel stepped forward, but she no longer appeared as the simple science officer from the Nebula Seeker. Her form shifted, revealing her true nature as a human operative who had spent decades embedded in Coalition space. If we had wanted to control you, she continued, her voice carrying the weight of centuries, we could have done so at any time. Instead, we chose to guide, to protect, to help you avoid the mistakes we made during our own development. The chamber fell silent as Risha projected her memories. Centuries of careful intervention. Countless lives saved, wars prevented, all without the Coalition ever knowing they were being helped. Your civilization stands at a crossroads, she explained. You can cling to your fear, your pride, your illusion of control, or you can accept the truth and help us face what's coming. What's coming? Admiral Kane demanded. Risha's expression darkened. Something ancient is stirring in the void between galaxies, something that has destroyed countless civilizations before. We've been preparing for its arrival for millennia, building networks, advancing technology, guiding species toward unity. But we can't face it alone. High Counselor Vire's crystalline form pulsed with deep thought. You need us. We need each other, Risha corrected. Humanity's technology combined with Coalition diversity and resilience. It's why we've worked so hard to help your civilization develop, to guide you toward cooperation rather than conquest. The chamber's displays shifted, showing new data, evidence of the approaching threat that humanity had been preparing for all along. The Coalition's greatest fear had never been humanity. It had been what humanity was protecting them from. As the Council grappled with these revelations, emergency alerts began flooding in from the outer sectors. Admiral Kane's face went pale as she read the reports. Multiple quantum anomalies detected. Massive objects emerging from subspace. Risha nodded grimly. They're early. We'd hoped for more time. But she straightened, her form shifting fully to her human appearance. The choice is yours, counselors. Stand with us, or face what's coming alone. The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance as ancient enemies approached and centuries of secrets finally came to light. The time for hidden truths and shadow games was over. Now survival would depend on whether humanity's long game of protection and guidance had prepared the Coalition for its greatest test. The emergency lights pulsed through Coalition Central Command as High Commander Zora Vex studied the tactical displays. Massive objects were emerging from subspace across multiple sectors, their quantum signatures unlike anything recorded in Coalition databases. Status report, she demanded, her silver eyes reflecting the holographic warnings. 17 anomalies detected, Lieutenant Kara Wren responded, her fingers dancing across the neural interface. The largest is approximately the size of a small moon. They're ignoring our hailing frequencies. Director Amara Vale stood quietly in the corner, watching the Coalition's military leadership grapple with the situation. Her presence had been controversial, but given the circumstances, even Admiral Kane had accepted the necessity of human assistance. Your defense systems won't be effective against them, Amara said softly. We've encountered these entities before, in other galaxies. They exist partially outside normal spacetime. Conventional weapons are useless. Zara turned to face her, decades of military training warring with the need to trust this ancient ally. Then what do you suggest? Amara's form shifted slightly, her human appearance becoming more fluid, more ethereal. We've spent centuries preparing for this moment. Every technological advancement we guided you toward, every diplomatic solution we encourage, every defense system we helped you develop, they were all pieces of a larger strategy. The main display shifted, showing a vast network of quantum relays hidden throughout Coalition space. Each one had been carefully positioned, waiting for this moment. "Your people fear that we've manipulated your civilization," Amara continued. "The truth is, we've been preparing you to help us save it." A new alert flashed across the screens. The unknown entities had begun moving toward populated systems, their massive forms distorting space itself. "We don't have time for diplomatic niceties anymore," Amara declared. "The choice is simple. Trust us now, completely, or watch everything you've built crumble before an enemy you can't even comprehend." Zara looked around the command center, at the faces of her officers, human, alien, and everything in between. The Coalition had been built on the idea of unity through diversity. Perhaps it was time to embrace that principle fully. "What do you need from us?" The quantum network hummed with power as Coalition and human forces worked in perfect synchronization. What had seemed like scattered, unconnected advances in technology over centuries suddenly revealed their true purpose: pieces of a vast defensive system that spanned the galaxy. On the bridge of the flagship Eternal Dawn, Risha stood with Captain Thorne and Admiral Kane, watching as the planned centuries in the making finally unfolded. "The entities are approaching the first defensive line," Nix reported from his station. "Quantum resonance at optimal levels." Risha nodded, her form shifting between human and energy as she interfaced with the network. "For millennia, we searched for a way to defeat these creatures. We failed until we realized we weren't meant to do it alone." The first entity, a massive shape that hurt the eyes to look at directly, struck the quantum barrier. Instead of the destruction everyone expected, something remarkable happened. The barrier didn't just stop the entity, it began to transform it. "Coalition quantum technology," Amara explained from her position at Coalition Command, "combined with human consciousness integration and the unique energy patterns of a dozen different species. Together, they create something new, something that can touch the untouchable." Across the galaxy, the scene repeated itself. The entities, creatures that had destroyed countless civilizations, found themselves caught in a web of energy that transformed their very nature. What had been a force of destruction became something else entirely, a bridge between realities. "This was your plan all along," Zara realized. "Not to destroy them, but to change them. Just as we helped change you," Amara confirmed. "Violence isn't the answer to every threat. Sometimes, transformation is more powerful than destruction." As the last entity was transformed, a new era dawned for both civilizations. The barriers between human and Coalition technology dissolved, creating something greater than either could have achieved alone. In the archives, Dren Corval began recording a new history, not of conquest or subjugation, but of protection, guidance, and ultimately, partnership. The Coalition's greatest fear had become its greatest ally, and together they had faced down an enemy that had terrorized galaxies. On the Eternal Dawn's observation deck, Risha stood with Captain Thorne, watching the transformed entities dance through space in patterns of impossible beauty. "Was it worth it?" Thorne asked. "All those centuries of hiding, watching, waiting." Risha smiled, her form settling into its natural human state. "Look around you, Marcus. Two civilizations that once feared each other, now working together to transform destruction into creation. I'd say it was worth every moment." The galaxy spread out before them, filled with possibilities neither civilization could have imagined alone. The time of shadows and secrets was over. The time of true partnership had begun. In Coalition Central Command, Amara Vale and High Commander Zora Vex watched as the quantum network shifted from defense to exploration, its power now dedicated to understanding the transformed entities and the doorways between realities they had created. "What happens now?" Zara asked. Amara's eyes sparkled with ancient wisdom and new hope. Now we explore together. There are more wonders in this universe than either of our peoples have dreamed of, and for the first time, we can face them as equals, as partners, as friends." The stars seemed brighter somehow as if reflecting the dawn of a new age. Humanity had emerged from the shadows, the coalition had overcome its fears, and together they had transformed an ancient enemy into a gateway to new possibilities. The story of two civilizations, once divided by fear and misunderstanding, had become a testament to the power of patience, protection, and the courage to trust. As the transformed entities danced through space, they served as a reminder that the greatest victories come not through destruction, but through the wisdom to seek transformation instead.